do you start this conversation? Like,
Just being like, hey everyone,
Yeah.
we just wanted to
yeah.
let you know that there's going to be like a certain change or something like that? Or,
Okay, I've got it. Yeah.
okay.
But there's your hook.
We're breaking up with Battleborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it the end of van life?
Yeah.
It's
The end of an era.
The end. So we've been pretty transparent over the last, 3 years that we have a contract with Battleborn Batteries here on this channel, and that is now over. It was a 3-year contract that is no longer a thing, and we just kind of wanted to loop everybody in and let everybody know sort of what that means for the channel and sort of like what we're able to accomplish with that contract. And I think the best way to start that, because those of you who've been subscribed for a long time, like that we've had just such a long relationship with Battleborn Batteries. And it started back in 2017?
Mm-hmm.
2017. Battleborn Batteries was way smaller back then.
Way smaller.
Like when the very first meeting we ever had with Battleborn Batteries, we were in Tahoe. This is when we were still full time in our van, and we got an Instagram DM from the COO at that time. Just wanted to meet us and see how we could work together. So we drove down to their office and warehouse. It was all under one roof at that point in time in Reno or Sparks, Nevada, which is just outside of Reno. And there were, if I remember correctly, I think there were 3 desks along the back wall. There was one conference table off to the side in its own room, and then their warehouse was sort of in the back. And honestly, like their warehouse back then was not much bigger than our warehouse now. A couple thousand square feet, probably less than 5,000 square feet, I would imagine,
definitely.
if I was just guessing. So yeah, they were a much smaller operation, and I think it's been really cool to see how much they've grown and how much success they've had. And I think it's really cool too to sort of know that we've been a part of that from a marketing perspective, because realistically and from a business perspective, it's like, yeah, we were doing marketing for them because we truly believed in what they were doing. Made in USA company, or American-based company, which is always cool to kind of partner up with and support. So fast forward to when did the contract start, Steph?
2021.
So was that would have been late 2021? No, it would have been
January 1st, 21.
January 1st, 2021. So at the end of 2020, they got a hold of us and said, hey, we'd like to take this sort of partnership, because before that, there was no contract. It was just, we were just doing videos featuring their batteries as the need came around. So late 2020, they got a hold of us and they said, hey, we still really like the videos you're putting out. How can we make this more official? And how can we make it so that you can make more videos? And basically, we threw some numbers around and came to an agreement, and they gave us a contract that they would sponsor the channel for 3 years. We would have to put out a weekly video. That was the first obligation. The second obligation was that we couldn't feature any other batteries. Now, we didn't have to talk shit on other batteries or anything like that. That wasn't part of the deal, and that's something we've never done. But they just wanted us to not feature any other batteries on the channel over those 3 years. We agreed to that, and in exchange, we got enough funding to hire Grace behind the camera now, still behind the camera. So we published a video about the start of all of that, and I think it was the first time Grace was on the camera, and she was very uncomfortable at the whole situation.
That hasn't changed
right
either.
now.
She's still uncomfortable.
And that's how that all started. And so, it was this thing where before the contract started, we weren't doing anything with any other battery companies anyway. We already were sort of doing exclusive Battleborn content anyway. And so in our mind, it's like, well, there's going to be an increased workload, but if we're able to hire somebody to help with that, it doesn't really change anything from the battery point of view. So hell yeah, let's do it. So over the course of the 3 years, we accomplished a lot. And those of you who've been around for those 3 years, like first off, thank you. But second off, like we've really done a lot. The first year, as it was initially going to be, was we were going to do the van build, the transit van build. And then the second year was going to be an expedition truck build. And then the third year was going to be, it was sort of open-ended to a degree, but it was going to be some kind of like DIY pull behind trailer kind of situation, I think. But I think there was a lot of room for flexibility there. So we did the transit build. It took a little longer than we expected, so that kind of leaked over into year 2 a little bit. But we did it. We made like 50 videos of that whole process. A great electrical system installation tutorial video. Yeah, it was great. So that was basically year 1. Year 2, we started noticing the sort of decrease or decline in views on van tutorials, non-electrical tutorials. So we went back to Battleborn and sort of talked about our content plan for the second year. And I'm just taking over the story at this point in time, but you kind of told me to, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So year 2, we were going to do the expedition truck, saw the views declining on like non-electrical related tutorials on the channel. So went back to Battleborn and said, hey, how about this? Instead of the expedition truck build, how about we instead do retrofit tutorials on all the major sort of categories of RVs? And they were good with it, so that's what we did. We did 5 different tutorial videos, 30 amp travel trailer, 30 amp motorhome, 50 amp motorhome, a truck camper with 30 amp shore power. Was there a 5th one?
Yeah, I don't remember which
I don't
one
remember.
it
I'd have to look. Grace, do you remember?
You went out of order of how we did that.
I went super out of order. But anyway, 4 to 5 very long tutorials, very complete tutorials, to a degree that nobody had done on YouTube before. And so like I thought that was really cool to be able to do that. The third year, this previous year, we started the Explorist.life Academy. So we did the full tutorials the second year, the third, which actually spurred a lot of questions.
Yes.
And people wanted to, there was two types of people who had questions. I felt like one type of person was just the enthusiast. They were very interested in how the theory of everything worked and wanted to know why our electrical kits were the way that they were. And so that was sort of one segment of the audience. The other segment of the audience was professionals who wanted to learn more about the theory side of things. So upfitters, dealers, distributors, we've got just people who wanted more information about the technical side of things. And that's what we started in the third year of that contract. The big project of year 3 was the power box build off that was published right before Christmas. So what, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. And that was the big project of the year. So each year sort of had its own like sort of capstone project. And that's what we've done. We've put out a video literally every weekend with very few exceptions over the last 3 years. And that's been really cool. I don't know that there's another channel that's sort of had that kind of consistency and brought all this basically education to the public for free for y'all, which is cool, right? Do you have anything else to add on that regard before we get into the next part?
No. I don't think it necessarily matters, but I did realize that my years were off. It was end of 21 was when we started talking to Battleborn about this contract. The contract started in 22, went 22, 23, 24.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, so off
Yeah.
1 year. There was a
off for
couple
1 year.
years in there where it's like it was all a blur.
Yeah. Yeah, post-pandemic, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, that 3 years was 1 year to me.
Yeah, that's when I was doing a lot of like teaching on behalf of Victron as well.
Oh, yes.
And so I sort of kind of came off the road from teaching for Victron nearly full time in order to get back into Explorer's Life to a degree. I forgot that sort of happened at
Yes.
that point in time too.
Yeah,
So
all a blur.
yeah, because if you'll notice, like right before that contract started, like I only put out 2 videos over that summer just
Yeah.
because I didn't have time, like because I was contracting out for Victron to go teach their dealer distributor classes and stuff like that. So yeah, that brought a lot of videos back to the channel. I just sort of realized that
Yeah.
as we sit here.
Yeah, pretty cool. But I think that's a huge accomplishment of this entire contract was that it brought us back to our own roots of educating the masses for free on YouTube and not just focusing on those few distributors who could show up to a Victron class and teaching 10, 15 people at a time, whereas we can teach thousands at a time via YouTube.
Oh, that was the other thing that the contract sort of allowed us to do was we were part of the way we were funding ourselves before that was the private consulting group. And although it was successful, I also felt bad about the fact that, we had 100,000+ subscribers at that point in time, but I wasn't putting out any videos in favor of only helping sort of the privileged, 20, 30, 40, 50, however many people were in that group who were in a privileged enough place to pay for that service.
Yeah.
And it was, I think free education is really important. And although that particular service was fairly affordable, I still really like providing free education. It's just really important to me.
Yeah.
So that allowed us to sort of get rid of that for better or for worse. I think the people who were in the group, once we got rid of that, phased that out. They didn't like it, but
Sure. Yeah.
but I think it was a little more ethical of a thing to do. So that's what we accomplished during the contract. I'm referencing my notes over here. So how does the Battleborn and explorist.life relationship look like moving forward? Because, like Kaylin and Battleborn, like we've been like talking to her for years at this point. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we closed down the contract the other day. We mutually agreed that we should not extend the contract.
Yes.
And so it wasn't even really a discussion.
No.
We chose not to pursue extending the contract, and I pitched it to Victron, I pitched it to Battleborn basically as follows. I feel like over time, there have been more and more battery manufacturers come on the market since we went under contract with Battleborn. And because of that, related to that, we weren't able to share anything regarding those batteries in our channel. And we wanted the freedom to do that. We wanted the freedom to be able to talk about like Epoch communication protocols and Victron batteries and their communication protocols, and just sort of how all of those batteries can communicate and synchronize with each other, or with Victron components, or with components from other brands that we'll be releasing on this channel in the years to come. And getting rid of the contract will allow us to do that, and it's also going to make us seem more genuine and whenever we make a recommendation, because everybody knows that we are under contract with Battleborn, and so whenever we recommend Battleborn, they're like, well, you're just recommending Battleborn because you're under contract. And that's not really true. We agreed to a contract with Battleborn because we recommend Battleborn batteries, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And now that there's more batteries on the market that we can sort of include, we're going to be able to share that kind of stuff on the channel, which is pretty important. We're going to be able to sell other batteries too, alongside Battleborn batteries, because we still recommend Battleborn batteries. We think it's a high quality battery that has excellent customer service. But there's also other batteries that are also very good out there and that have very good customer service and stuff like that. So we want to be able to sort of share and just have more options for that. We actually already, as of today, shooting this video, we have batteries on shop.explorist.life as part of our kit builders. And so if you want to buy a system, start to finish, including batteries, you don't have to buy just Battleborn batteries. We have more options now. And it also gives us the option to program multipluses for whatever batteries that people want to use, whether that's purchased through our store or purchased separately. It's sort of gives a lot of options and a lot of freedom in that regard.
Yeah, and I think it gives us a lot of flexibility moving forward too, to be able to build out systems that have various different components in it. We don't want to be married to just Battleborn or just Victron components. We want to be able to bring you guys the best and the most affordable components that are on the market. And so I think getting rid of this contract and not extending it with Battleborn allows us that flexibility for moving forward.
Yeah. And I think the other part about my notes just went away. Oh, there it is. With the academy that's ongoing, we've got a batteries chapter of the academy coming up, and that's going to allow us, the chance to talk about, how do the new Battleborn batteries communicate with this, with the Victron Servo GX, but it's also going to allow us the freedom to how do Victron batteries commute with the Victron Servo GX. Epoch batteries, same thing. Now, what does the contract ending, what batteries do we recommend going forward?
That's a great question, and I think that's going to be something that kind of morphs and evolves with the more batteries that we become familiar with, and the more batteries that come on the market, and the different types of batteries that come on the market.
Yeah. But what this channel is not going to turn into, it's not going to turn into Nate's battery reviews.
No.
I get emails every single day from every battery manufacturer under the sun, whether it's a white label battery manufacturer, all that kind of stuff, wanting us to review a battery. I could review a battery every single week from here until eternity and never run out of battery reviews. But I would rather shut down this channel and go back to being a firefighter. That sounds awful. I'm just not that interested in like all the different batteries and stuff like that, and all the different varieties. In our experience, the brand and the brand of battery is significantly less important than the quality of the system that the battery is installed in. The quality of the chargers, super important. But most importantly, the quality of the workmanship of the system. So using properly sized wire, using high quality fuses, that's sort of the thing that you really need a brand name on is fuses. DC distribution, so Lynx distributor, Blue Sea safety hub, Tiger Exped, UFO 200, like any of those kind of things. If you're having those high quality types of components in the system, the brand of battery matters a fair amount less. Now, circling back around to the what batteries do we recommend, we do have batteries available in our store, available for purchase. But I also think it's important to understand that the batteries we have in our store aren't necessarily the only batteries that will work with our systems. There's a lot of batteries that will work with our systems. Nearly every battery manufacturer under the sun will work with our electrical systems, nearly as a caveat. With nearly no changes, maybe some changes to programming, and that's for the most part it. But there's battery manufacturers that we won't be able to put on our store just because of dealer terms. We've had a lot of customers who use lifetime batteries with our electrical systems, but we've tried to come to agreeable dealer terms with lifetime, and their dealer terms are terrible, and so we won't put them in our store. It actually would cost us money to put them in our store, which is a terrible sales tactic if we want to continue to be able to pay Grace behind the camera there and also put out videos every week. So that's sort of how we're landing on batteries going forward. We're going to be pretty battery agnostic, if you will. So does that all clear everything up? I know I've been ranting on this, but I feel like this video's been, not ranting, I don't know, it's just
Rambling.
This video has been like building up for a little while at this point. Like, how in the world do I say this? Because I know there's a lot of like people out there who think we've been dishonest about, sort of sharing only Battleborn over the last 3 years. But I hope this gives a little bit of extra context.
Yeah, and I think we've been very transparent over the years that we were under contract with them. At no point in time did somebody ask us why we only recommend Battleborn, and we gave them any other answer other than they're a great battery and we're under contract with them.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums all that up. Anything we missed? As always, if you have questions about our contracts and stuff like that, a lot of people think we're under contract with Victron, and that's not true.
No.
We're going to be selling Red Arc later in the year, but before we can put anything in our store, we have to become experts in it, and it takes a long time to become an expert in a thing. And so it's just taking time. So anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Grace? You're good? Okay. Grace is still on board, so everybody behind on the other side of the screen, don't worry. Grace is we're still able to pay Grace because of everybody who has purchased through shop.explorist.life. We've got electrical systems for 99% of use cases out there, and they work with pretty much any battery. So I hope this provided some additional insight. Thank you for sticking through with us through this quite long video, and I think that's it, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.